Okay, Amy, go for it.
Okay. Good morning, everybody, or should I say good day, depending on where you live. My name is Amy Youngblood, and I am the owner and lead designer of Amy Youngblood Interiors, based out of Cincinnati, Ohio. We are a full-service interior design firm, for those of you that don't know, and we do residential and commercial design of all types. So, and I'm also the moderator of the Fabulous Four today. So I want to welcome our ladies. I think the thing that the commonality of our businesses, even though we all have very essentially different businesses, is that we are in the business of aesthetics. So given our situation with COVID-19 right now, a lot of us here have had businesses that have been shuttered or have been considered non-essential. So that's been, I think, difficult for a lot of us to first address and therefore pivot. And I feel like you other three small business owners have done a great job in pivoting your business and being out there. And I just want to talk about your experiences and how you've done that. So I want to first introduce our panelists. I want to thank you ladies so much for being part of this. First of all, I want to introduce Emily Morgan, who is an amazing personal trainer, I know because she's mine, and owner of Live in the Movement. Our other panelist is Christine Klueh, owner of Pele Medical Skincare. And we have Rachel Hamilton, co-owner of the Co-op on Camargo. So what I want to do to start with, now that I've introduced you, if you could we can start with, let's start with Chris.
Sure.
Tell us all, each of you, a little bit, just a general description of your business. I guess where you were at when this whole, I guess, pandemic really hit our country, because I think for a lot of us, the economy was going really well and things were going well. So Chris, why don't we start with you and your story?
Sure. So I've been in business for 11 years and I own it's called Pele Medical Skincare, and it's a med spa. We do a lot of facial treatments, outpatient facial treatments, medical grade products, needling, Botox, all of that. So over the past 11 years, I've had just a nice continual growth. I've been very fortunate that way. And 2020 we were right on target to see another positive growth until, of course, the pandemic hit, and it was quick. I mean, we had to shut down within, 24 hours. So it was kind of the rug out from underneath you. And, initially you're in shock, you're a little panicked, especially when, we were off to such a great first quarter.
Okay. How about you, Emily? I know you and I have been in conversations a lot via text and your situation. Yeah. Tell me about your business and how it affected you.
Well, as for everyone, it rapidly. I remember one day heading into the studio. So I own Live in the Movement, which is my own personal training and fitness event business. I also work as a cancer exercise specialist, but I also work in Studio S, which is currently moving from Hyde Park Square to East Walnut Hills. And that's where I train Amy. I never remember one day, I have wonderful clients and a nice full schedule, and we're getting into spring and everyone's motivated and ready to go. And I remember one day at the studio, just kind of waiting on the news where maybe, you didn't hug your client when they walked in, or we're bleaching everything in the studio. We're picking weights up and putting them away with Clorox wipes in our hands. And then the next day we had to shut down everybody else. So it's been a huge adjustment.
How about you, Rachel? How is your business going? And I guess what was your initial reaction as well, and experience?
Yeah, so I am one of the owners of the Co-op on Camargo. We are a women's boutique in Madeira, and we were just hitting our stride for spring and just beginning to get busy and have some private events for, kind of highlighting what was coming in for spring and just getting ready to really hit the season running similar to what Chris was mentioning. We had, the year had started off really well. We were continually, we're making gains. And then it was really kind of a shock to our system to one, the week prior to things being shut down, we had a really nice private event in the store. So we went from that to being closed. I think one of the hardest things during the process was initially, at least for us, was, and I'm sure for everyone else too, was not knowing there was no end point. It kept getting pushed, further and further out for good reason, but that makes it very difficult. That was tough. And our sales dropped 90% in the beginning. So that was very hard.
Yeah, I'm sure. I know. So, and speaking of which, so we are now in this kind of reopening phase, at least in Ohio, and a lot of us have been allowed to open. I know I personally don't have a retail store, so we were able to still come into the office, social distancing, masks, whatever. How have you all handled how did you handle your staying out there during the shelter in place order? Why don't we start with you, Chris? I noticed you were doing a lot of texts and emails about products that you were trying to sell. Maybe you could talk about that a little bit.
Sure. Yeah, we really tried to stay in good communication with our patients, our clientele, whether it was emails, social media. We wanted to communicate what was going on our end, how we were handling the shutdown, like Rachel was saying, the unknowns, we're still here. We're still waiting to come back. We'll keep you all posted. We did our online product sales and gift certificate sales. Those were very successful. But we also tweaked our marketing. We wanted our marketing to change a little bit, especially on the social media side. We wanted more self-care. We wanted more encouragement. So we wanted to do a more holistic approach to our social media, just to let people know that, we are all going through this together. Just take good care of yourself, be positive, and, just a lot of encouragement. We wanted to portray a lot of warmth too, to let them know that we really truly value them and we miss them. And so the lines of communication were imperative.
I would agree. How about you, Emily?
Yeah, absolutely. I would just add to think communication was key. At Studio S, there's a big focus on community, as you know, Amy. We quickly switched gears. We started doing some recorded classes and eventually some live streaming classes where clients buy a monthly package and have unlimited viewings of all the recorded and the live classes. So that's sort of how we switched gears. I also, my personal training clients, everybody's a little different, and everybody's situation, home situation, homeschooling situation, and financial situation could be rocky. So I do FaceTime or Zoom some personal clients, but some people are doing things on their own. So that's when the communication comes in, where we're just kind of keeping in touch with each other. I mean, Amy, I know you and I have talked a couple times, and we've talked because we miss that.
It's good to talk.
And
yeah,
that's what we do
when we work out.
Exactly. Yeah. So communication, I think that's big. There are some clients I can't work with physically, or I feel uncomfortable doing it over a device. So, little handwritten notes, just to check in, see how everybody's doing.
Yeah. Great. Well, Rachel, I know you are doing a lot of things because your store was obviously shuttered until recently. You were doing things like, I think, deliveries, curbside deliveries to people. So how are you handling all this?
Yeah, so we really, it was important to us to be continuing, as Chris and Emily were mentioning, that communication and the connection to your customers and your clients, keeping that, really focusing on continuing to have a connection with our customers, and to let them know that, we're going to do everything we can to continue to be of service to them. One of the ways that we did that is, as you mentioned, Amy, we were doing free home delivery, which was great. And we're very fortunate to have customers who are dedicated to shopping local. They really wanted to support us. So that was great. And we, quickly, as we started putting more and more on Facebook or Instagram, we were utilizing our social media much more than we had in the past. And it was kind of a, quick learning curve, but, you just go for it. And so that was very helpful to us too, because it was a really good way for us to stay in front of our clients and to show them what we have without them coming into the store. But also, offering the delivery, it was a way for us to help them out if they wanted to get a gift to someone, or, they wanted to do something special for a friend. So we really focused on things like that, and just kind of expanding how do we step up our marketing and also continue to get our product out there without people being able to come into the store.
Right. So, and that leads me on to, I guess, my next question, and you ladies have touched on this already to a big degree, but can you share any kind of a big success story, or even a small success story that you really gained some traction from? Chris, can you think of anything besides successfully opening your studio?
Sure. It's pros and cons. It's pros on my side, because we've learned to take a little more control of our schedule. And, I tend to be a little bit on the workaholic side, and I have a hard time saying no. And I would just bring in people as much as I can. And because I love them, I love what I do. And I've learned that I need to put the brakes on a little bit. So for me, having a little more control over my schedule has been great. Unfortunately, for my patients coming in, they're having to be a little more patient. And they've been very accommodating. So I think I'm going to learn to just kind of take a little more control of, on my end, my schedule. So it'll be a little bit easier.
Well, I think a lot of us have been working just 7 days a week, and we're at home and the days stream together. So we just sort of lose track of time.
Yeah.
So, Emily, how about you? Any story you'd like to share?
I think I'm super grateful that I have everybody coming back when we open our doors again, June 1st. And I wanted to make it clear to each one of my clients that I'm there in any capacity that they need to move forward. And I'm grateful that through this transition time, and we're going to have more transition time, right? It's going to be a huge transition period for a while, that I have a learning. So I feel like that's a big success. Some of the protocols we put in place, like doing something over FaceTime or doing some Zoom group classes or with a small group, having that in place now feels like a big win for me too. I feel like I have the confidence to do that. Should we need to take another step back, or should somebody need to continue in that way? So.
Right. What about you, Rachel? I know you you actually ended up on the news the other is that weeks ago, months ago? I can't remember now. What?
Yeah, I know. I can't either at this point. Yeah. We did. We were very fortunate to have a connection to one of the news anchors at Channel 9, and that really helped us get onto their schedule. And John Matarese was kind enough to come over to the store and social distance out, outside of the store, and do an interview with myself and Jill Haney, one of the other owners at the store. And that was a great, just a very positive, it's a positive story. It was really good for us just to let more people know about us and how we're getting through this. As far as successes, I feel like getting through this has been a success. I mean, we are, we've had to quickly pivot and learn, new ways of reaching our customers. And in doing that, we've really expanded or grown our presence, social media presence. And that's something I struggled with, and that we struggled with, just in terms of having enough time to, spend on that. But when you have the time, we're not in the store, we really were able to focus on that. And that was very helpful. So we've grown our social media. So I'm proud of the fact that we have, we had the interview Channel 9, but we also did a promotion. Amy, you were part of one of the promotions that we did.
Yes, thank you.
That was a great, kind of, it's just like, hey, let's try it. let's see if we can get some traction here and get some more following and get more people knowing about us and some other local businesses. So those were wins.
Great. Well, it's nice that we all have some of those stories through all.
Amy, sorry to interrupt. Jeffrey has a question. Would you like to take that now or hold it till the end?
I don't see.
No, I can read it for you.
Okay, great. Okay, yes. Go ahead.
Jeffrey, he says, I understand the marketing during the shutdown. Are you all going back to marketing strategy before, or will that change? And
that was my next question for the group. So yes, going forward, because this COVID-19 situation obviously is not going away anytime immediately. So, and they've been talking about, the experts have been talking about a possible resurge in the fall. So I guess, how do all of you ladies feel you're going to continue going forward, knowing that this is really out there and it's still an issue? Mm-hmm. So Chris, do you want to, I know yours is so like hands-on.
Yes. So we are hands-on. So we have taken extra protocols. So it's not just the mask that we're wearing the face shields as well, because our patients have to come in and take their masks off. So we're double layered. But, I don't have full run of the office yet. So not all the staff is there at any one time. We only have 2 nurses or estheticians working in the back, 1 administrator up front. And we're taking it slow. I'm going to keep an eye on trends. I'm going to see, take it basically week by week and see what's going on, what government officials have to say. If we can, open it up a little bit more this summer, I will take advantage of that. I'm expecting the same thing. I'm expecting something to hit again in the fall that, we're going to have to make accommodations. The thing is, I really want to take precautions, not just for, ourselves, but for our patients and for the business as well. So I am, you know, I want to stay open as long as I can and just put the trust in our patients that we're taking good care of ourselves as well as we're taking good care of them. So as far as marketing, again, it's just keeping the communication going and letting everybody know what's going on.
Right. How about you, Emily? I know you've been doing so much online, just how I have in my business, via like we've done, as you all have probably seen, free Zoom interior design classes. So that's just kept us out there as well. Whether or not we get a huge project out of it or not, it's just keeping out there. So Emily, are you planning to continue doing those online workouts for those people that are still not completely comfortable coming into a gym?
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, I'm glad that I have those protocols in place for somebody whose comfort level might change. So, we're opening our studio doors June 1st, but that first 2 weeks is going to be only personal training. So we're going to have a very limited number of people in there to get comfortable, see that we're exercising caution and doing everything possible to make it safe and comfortable. Then we're doing limited group class size, and then kind of see where we sit in the summer and the fall. So I think it's, you know, just being heard, but also being patient. We all have to be patient. I'm super lucky to have a lot of clients, and I think generally as a community, and we've had to learn how to be supportive and patient because we don't know what will happen in 2 months.
Right. How about you, Rachel? I know yours is a lot like Chris is very, you know, a touch feel kind of experience. How do you plan on moving forward with all of this?
I think, we'll continue as far as marketing. I really think it's important. You know, I'm thankful for having to make some of the changes that we did, just because it's forced us to do some things differently. But those things have been helpful. So, you know, continuing to offer delivery to people who may not be as comfortable yet. And then on, you know, even, you know, once we do get through, we'll probably continue to offer that because it's another way to connect with our customers who, you know, we're busy. People don't always have time. They can't always make it in. And on the times that they can't, you know, we'll probably get into doing some more private appointments. Maybe we go to our clients instead of having them come in to make things as convenient as we possibly can for them. And as far as, you know, in the store and just safety in general, I'm constantly combing through other people's maybe it be their pages online or asking questions as to, you know, what other businesses are doing. You know, one thing that came up was steaming. You know, we're steaming our clothes in between, and obviously we're doing all the other things as well. But, you know, those things are also very important to us, and we'll continue to do that, you know, moving forward, even once we get through all of this.
Yeah. Well, and we've all seen recently some really big name retailers go out or declare bankruptcy. So that, I think, being able to pivot your business to, again, so much just online ordering and delivering and people not going into stores, I think that's a great idea. So I want to dig a little bit deeper, as I think I mentioned to you guys earlier. Are there any words of wisdom or lessons learned that you could impart on other small business owners, whether it be other females like us or even or males? Any thoughts? Chris, do you want to start with that?
Really, you know, flexibility, like Emily was saying, patience. It's really, learning just to adapt to the situation, try to be creative and readjust. And that's the biggest thing. I know those aren't like outstanding, words of wisdom, but it's kind of what we've had to do. Just kind of take a step back, reassess the situation and say, okay, we can't change it, but how can we be creative? How can we be flexible to move with it and continue to thrive? So really that's my feeling on it.
No, that's great. How about you, Emily?
I kind of, when I've gone through hard times or faced adversity, just knowing you don't always feel it, but usually change brings good things. And on the other side of it, whether you want to hear it or not, and you're having a really bad day, there are really good pieces of life to take out of this. And there's some comfort, not that I want anybody else's business or personal, but there's some comfort kind of knowing that we're kind of all in this together. This is affecting everybody. You're not alone. This is not personal and just happening to you and your business.
Mm-hmm. Rachel, what do you think?
So for me, I would say even when things are going well, continuously seek out new ways of growth. And it doesn't mean, completely restructuring things, but it is always constantly kind of researching your craft and, learning how else, could I do this, even if it's just a little tweak here or there? Could I do this a little differently? Is there something I'm missing out on, even if it's a small thing? It's good to continuously seek out new ways of doing things, ways of growing, even when things are going well, because I think that this has really taught me, there's so much more out there. If you're willing to put in a little more time or just change your view of things a little bit to do things slightly differently, or even just try some different things. I think that always helps with growth.
Well, I would agree with all you ladies. I know myself personally, being in a creative oriented business, it's about getting creative. And so you get caught up in the day-to-day operations of just staffing people and delivering orders or just managing your store, your space, and you kind of forget about new ways to do things. And I think being very open to new technology like we're doing today, learning Zoom and just like you said, communication, and I think also transparency with people. I know we've had a lot of Zoom calls with clients or potential clients that are just very much like, wow, I'm going crazy in my house. Like, please come fix it. So, anyway, well, I want to wrap things up, and I want to thank you for all of our viewers for joining us. And one final thing I want to offer is we can display this on the screen. We should be able to. Myself and our fabulous four ladies are offering a pandemic pampering package. And for everyone that is on the call, we have your emails. We will email this to you, but what we've done is combined some of our top services and package them at a 50% discount. So I would highly encourage you, even if you don't use every one of them, it's a great deal. And you've got some great people that are behind them. So look to hear from me for more information on that. So unless anyone has any questions, I am going to say goodbye. Any thoughts? Anyone want to add anything?